What's going on, guys? Today I'm gonna tell you about the 7 best streaming platforms for classical music. Actually, classical music has been doing really well on music streaming platforms recently, and there is a bunch of services that really do a great job of bringing together all different types of classical music, which is surprisingly hard compared to other genres out there. My first choice is the big dog, and that's Spotify. I don't really have to explain Spotify to you. Probably it's $9.99. You can get a family pricing model as well, where you can put together about 6 people. They have a vast library of music, and that goes for classical music as well. Their sound quality is pretty good. However, it's not quite on par with other services, and it's not really on the level as your audio CD. So they are not quite there. But their catalog of music is really huge. What people don't really like is how Spotify sets up its search function, because it's kind of hard to find titles, because classical music tends to be differently set up in terms of cataloging compared to, say, pop music, for example. And obviously Spotify is very much a mainstream service, so they aren't really focused as much on your classical music. So if you really want to deep dive, Spotify probably isn't the choice for you. And that's where my second choice, and probably the best one for enthusiasts, comes in, and that's Prime Phonic. Prime Phonic is basically the Spotify for classical music. They have over 1 million titles and are really close to what Spotify is offering in terms of quantity for classical music. But what they have that Spotify doesn't have is their cataloging and their search functions. Prime Phonic has a user interface that's really set up for classical music and does that really well, which means you can search not only by composer and uh, a specific title, but also by historical period, record label, and genre. You can also search by subcategories, which is really nice because, as I said before, classical music cataloging is kind of harder than with rock music, for example, and the sub categorizing really helps you find the title you're looking for, or finding new music yeah, or finding new music. And this way of subcategorizing really helps you finding the music you're looking for, or new music. Prime Phonic starts at $7.99 and goes up to $14.99 a month if you want the 24-bit lossless audio quality, which is really for purists. What's also really cool is they have a team of musicologists who categorize the music and put it in the catalog for Prime Phonic, and make sure that it's really set up in a way that's really easy but also correctly done, which Spotify doesn't do quite as well. Another one that's really interesting is Nexus, which is kind of an old school service that also kind of looks old school, honestly. They have over 800 classical music labels in their catalog, so that's huge. And a ton of recordings with 1,000 new ones coming in every month. But where Nexus really shines is the extras. What they have in terms of publishing information and behind the scenes, as well as artist biographies and that kind of stuff, is really special and something that no other service offers out there. They also have interactive music guides, which is something that's kind of crazy cool. However, it has to be said that Nexus is pretty expensive. It starts at a whopping $210 a year and goes up from there. So if you're willing to pay a little extra, Nexus is probably really cool for you. The next one is Idagio. I hope I said that correctly. Idagio also has about 1 million titles, which is pretty amazing, and comes in at $9.99, which is very reasonable. Besides that, there is not that much to be said about Idagio. They don't really have anything that sets them apart, to be honest. The next one is Qobuz. Qobuz is another more pricey one, but it has a really good music quality and a huge catalog. Qobuz has 40 million different titles, which is bonkers if you ask me. They also have really nice quality, and they start at 9.99 if you are alright with just your basic 320 kbs quality. It goes up from there, and you start to get in the more expensive Nexus type pricing if you want the high res or the FLAC 24 bit, which come in at about $25 a month or $300 a year. But if you want the highest quality and the huge catalog, Cobase is a really good choice. The next one is another big one that's not really only for classical music, and that's Apple Music. It's really kind of a at that point, it's really almost a philosophical choice if you want to go with Spotify or Apple. They are very similar in many regards, even when it comes down to pricing, and it's also a question of if you're an Apple user or not. But you probably already know what you get with Apple Music. What's really cool is they have an exclusive relationship with Deutsche Grammophon, who curates some of the music for them. And the last one I wanted to mention is Tidal. Tidal is has been kind of on the losing end of the streaming music wars, so to say. It's similar to Apple Music and Spotify, and it's honestly not really worse than any of those. It's just the one that didn't really make the cut. But they are still a good service, and what they do offer, what Spotify and Apple don't, is a lossless quality at 19.99 a month. But you can also get the typical 9.99 a month for your normal music quality. They do have a good catalog for classical music, but honestly, it's not up there with Spotify. So probably not the first one you want to go with. But if for some reason you already have a Tidal subscription, you're not gonna be disappointed. They do have a good selection. So that's everything for today. I hope I could help you out with some new services you might have not known about, and see you next week.